How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you're having a great day today. And today I'm going to be doing a Tekken 8 fun to fight against tier list. So as you can see, top is going to be most fun. Then we're going to have all the way to the bottom where anti-fun is the worst. Now, the ones in between is going to be for characters that are in between. But you guys can read. You understand what the tiers are. Now let's start just from left to right. You know, the way you would read. Okay, so already we're at a bit of a difficult one. Jack 8. In some ways he's fun to fight against because the big hitbox and stuff. It feels very easy to hit him. Actually, yeah, Jack 8 is pretty fun. I'm gonna put him in maybe not most fun to play against. I'm gonna put him in this one though. It feels satisfying to hit him because he makes the metal clunking sound. So yeah, Jack 8 pretty fun to play against. Now, oh god, Jin. This is gonna be a controversial take, but because I know Jin is so strong, I am actually going to put him in most fun to play against. And it's because a lot of the times when I'm playing Tekken 8 and I'm looking for clips, I don't really want to clip myself beating up on characters that are not really perceived as good. So when I find a Jin and the Jin is good and I beat that Jin, it's like, well, this is something I can clip because this is me overcoming a mountain. Because Jin just has so many options, so many oppressive things he can do at all times. Best parry in the game, arguably. And he has the electric as well. Electric is extremely annoying to fight against. And even though it's annoying to fight against, it's because I know overcoming the character is gonna be a good clip. That's kind of why he's there. If it was a character where people didn't see as good, then I would be like, oh, he would be more around maybe unfun, honestly, just because he's one of the best characters and it feels like you really, really have to outplay your opponent to beat him. But at the same time, I like the challenge, so that's why he's going in there. Like this is one opinion, right? So if you think this is crazy, like I know, yeah. But don't worry, there's more crazy to come, so let's get into it. Right, so John, John is really good, and that meter she builds over time is it's pretty scary because if you let it build too much, she gets broken moves. I'm gonna put her in neutral because this is kind of similar to Jin, where I know she's really good, but like the general perception of her is not as good as Jin, so obviously I can't clip farm Jin as much. But alright, let's cut out the clip farming for now because that's not really gonna be relatable to everyone. So I'm gonna move Jin. I do like the challenge. I'm gonna put him there, and we can't clip Farn John, which is out of the equation anyway. So general moveset. She's really rare, so it's kind of confusing how to figure out how to beat her. I'm going back through my experience playing against the character. Neutral. Yeah, maybe neutral. I might change that, but I think neutral is where Jun belongs. All right, now Kazuya. Honestly, it depends on how good the Kazuya player is, because when they're not good and they're kind of using their more gimmicky stuff, it's easier to work around it. Like in neutral, they do the punch and then the low kick and then the other kick. Well, if you block the two punches and low parry, that feels really good to do. But the electric, you see, you can duck it. You can also hard punish the house sweep if you're ready for it, which you also do by ducking. I'll put him in overall fun to play against because there's enough counterplay to him that it's fun. Okay, now King is tricky because at times I think that I just don't know how to fight against the character and there's more to learn. So even though I lose to King a little bit, it's because I feel like there's more I can learn, and that makes the game. That's what Tekken is about, being able to learn and adapt to what your opponents are doing. Okay, now here we have the first anti-fun. Lars, he's not even that tough to beat. It's just he feels, I'll put him in overall unfun. He's too tricky, too like flashy, a lot of screen noise. But at the same time, if you're able to just take the heat and survive the onslaught of BS, you'll do fine. And if he was better, I'd put him in anti-fun. But for now, he's going in on-fun. Now, by the way, I'm a blue rank, so if Lars is actually one of the best characters in the game, I didn't know that. But for how people in my rank play against me, they kind of just use the flashy stuff and they hope that you don't know what it is. And at first, you're not going to know what it is, but eventually you start noticing the patterns and you're able to punish. Sometimes Tekken 8 feels like it should be more matches in the sets so that you can realize what's going on quicker. Well, not quicker, but you have more time to realize what the opponent's gimmicks are. Then we have Law. He has a really good jab and stuff. I'm putting him in on fun. He's really good and he's really tricky, and a lot of his kind of gimmicks are not really reactable. So I'm just gonna put him in on fun because at least I can't react to a lot of the stuff he's doing. For now, I have room to improve. But but for now, he's just too quick with a lot of the things he does. Okay, Paul is he's going in neutral because in some ways he's fun to play against when you figure out what he's doing. Like with that low sweep into this move where he's pushing out. There's pattern recognition that you can do to counter him, but at the same time, if you mess up at any point, you're taking so much damage that it feels like, wow, I made a tiny mistake and this is the punishment. It feels a bit silly sometimes. In fact, I'm actually going to put him in on fun because he gets too much damage off of too small of a mistake. Now, when I'm better, he probably would go somewhere here or maybe here. But for now, the mistakes that I'm making feel like they're insignificant, and the punishment for the mistake is massive. And it's, that's not really fun. Especially because the punishment for the mistake is so huge, the match is over before you get a chance to adapt to what he's doing, and then next time you see a Paul player, you see against someone like John, where it's not that much damage, even though she's tricky, it's not too much damage. You get more time to realize what's going on. Whereas with Paul, it's you make a tiny mistake, you get a huge punishment, and you have to hold that L until you see a Paul again. And by the time you see a Paul again, you probably forgot how to counter all this stuff. Here we have Nina. I honestly have no clue because it is so rare to fight Ninas. I might just put her in neutral because I don't see this character that much. From what I've seen of other people play Nina, like the professional players, she seems incredibly broken. But I don't know. I don't have enough information. I'm gonna move on. I don't have enough information on Nina to give a good one. I have fought Ninas before, and they've seemed easy to beat, but the problem is that the Ninas I'm playing don't look like they're even coming close to the potential the character has. So, all right, for my experience, I'll put in just fun because you can farm points, and farming points is fun. But like all the Nina players I play against are not using the character to the full potential. And here's the next character, Ling Xiaoyu. Okay, this is actually so similar to Nina, where I don't think most players are using her to her full advantage, to her full capacity. But some of the players that I see playing her are good. I'm gonna put her in fun because she's similar to what I said about John, where she doesn't do too much damage, and because she doesn't do too much damage all at once, you get more time to adapt to what's going on. And since you get more time, it feels more fair. But that's why it doesn't. Putting Kazuya here probably is confusing to a lot of people. The thing about Kazuya is that Kazuya takes a lot more skill to perform the higher damage combos. So I don't see crazy damage combos with Kazuya at my ranks. But with Paul, he gets similar amounts of damage to Kazuya, but with a lot less skill. So I'm getting the parts of Kazuya that would be unfun to fight against in Paul. So that's why Paul is there and Kazuya is here. And in higher ranks, Kazuya is probably a lot less fun to fight against, but at the same time, you probably know what he's doing as well, so it could balance itself out to the point where he's still here, and yeah, it's kind of similar to what I said with Jack, because Jack, if I knew exactly how to counter the character at all times. Oh, actually, I'm putting Jack, sorry, not Jack, Paul, in anti-fun. He still has that hammer. I think it's called Hammer of the Gods move, where he does a charge elbow thing. And I thought they patched it to where if you're on the ground and he has a lot of Oki, you can counterplay it in some way. But I ran into a Paul who he put me on the ground, and while I'm getting up, he's charging that fucking elbow, and then I have to block it because I don't have a choice, and then I get hit by a move I can't block. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do against that. I can't armor it either. I tried that as well. So yeah, fuck that move. Paul is going in anti-fun just for that, because that is bullshit. Okay, I hope they nerf it again. I don't think they nerfed it enough. It still feels like you can't do anything. So this is gonna be tough because I'm biased. Asuka is my main, but this is a to play against, not to play as. Okay, so I hate losing against Asuka because it feels like I should know how to beat the character because I play the character. But luckily for me, I don't actually lose to Asuka most of the times that she comes into my matches. In fact, a lot of Asukas somehow have gotten into my rank and they're using gimmick crap that I stopped using a while ago, and I kind of wonder how the fuck did they get here. But yeah, should I put her in most fun? I'm gonna put her in most fun because it feels good to know that I'm better than other people using my character against me generally. And also, there's a couple fun gimmicks she has with the counter, and then also because if you catch her doing a counter on you and you're waiting it out, she's kind of sitting there like, oh shit, because you're gonna get a huge punish for that, and it feels great to call someone out and know that they're gonna try counter you. And also another thing you can do versus Asuka specifically is if you know she's gonna hold her ultimate so that you attack into it and then she does more damage to you, because it's like it feels like it's a counter meter that builds up as you're attacking her, and the more you attack her, the more damage her ult does. But if you know that she's going to hold it, you can just press your own ult, and your ult will break through hers, and you're gonna get a kill. So that is really cool. And yeah, I have to put her in most fun for that. And actually, on the negative side, that low punch that's not really, I don't know if it's reactable or not. It doesn't seem reactable, but she has a move where she punches down, and if you see, she has to be close to you to do it. So if you see Asuka close to you, you kind of should know that is probably coming. But I'll be fair, because of moves like that, and also some of the safe on block stuff like the forward 4 and forward 1, that can be a little unfun. So I'll put her there, but I'll put her at the top of this list. But actually, yeah, let me order the list. So out of these characters, who would be the most fun here? We'll go Kazuya. We'll go Jin next. Actually, do we keep... I'm going to put Jack in most fun. There's special things about him that make him more fun to play against than other characters, such as the sound effects when you're hitting him and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll put Jack there. King, we'll put Nina last for sure. King is probably second last, and that will be the order for now. Okay, Leroy. Leroy. Let me think. I don't want to blindly just put him somewhere. Okay, very similar to King, where there's more to learn. But with King, I think maybe actually King belongs behind Nina, because I see even really good players get fucked up by King. And yeah, if there's probably only so much counterplay to where at a certain point you get so good that, and they also get so good, because you have to remember in higher ranks the King players are also going to be good as well. They're going to be using options that you can't really react to and stuff like that. So I'm going to put King last. I'm going to put Leroy in there, maybe. I'm going to put him in neutral. Yeah, I'm going to put him in neutral. You see, his moveset is so abundant that for all the good moves that are fun to fight against, there's a bunch of annoying moves he has. Like those low kicks that you can't... I feel like you can't react to some of those low sweeps that he does. They're not like Lily's or Brian's low sweeps. They're actually like really quick, but they don't do as much damage, but they chip away at you as well, and it's kind of cancerous. And I don't get to see them as much as I would need to get used to that kind of move, to be able to react to it and see it coming. But there is some moves that are so bad, so reactable that I can counter it. I'm going to put him in overall fun. He's very close to neutral. King is actually going to go in neutral, because King is a bit of a nightmare at times. You see, King also has a very abundant moveset where some of his moves are more fun to fight against than others. Like exactly when he like points at you and then he does the armored stuff. Like you can break through a lot of that if you're timing your armor correctly, so that your armor overlaps with his and you end up having... Your move comes out after, is what I'm trying to say. Your armored move comes out after. And then also when he's running at you, you can sidestep and stuff, or you can just attack first with, for example, Asuka's, do you know hop kick? Is hop kick the right one? I'm not talking about the one that's just one kick. I'm talking about the can. That's the one I'm talking about. The can, where she does the double kick. That can break through the running at you, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, with King, there's some unique counters that my character has. So maybe he's not as fun for certain other people, but for me he's pretty fun. Sometimes, but sometimes not. I'll do overall fun. Overall fun, yeah. Okay, Lily. I think overall fun. It's another kind of rare character, but I think she's fair. Like she doesn't. I can't think of any move she has where like. Actually, I'm gonna. For that reason, I'll put her in most fun because with Leroy, I can think of his low kicks that are hard to react to, and that feels a bit unfair. But with Lily, there's nothing coming to mind where I'm thinking that's unfair. Um, like even her low sweep, it's it's definitely reactable. It's similar to Brian, and she's not as good as Brian. We'll get to Brian later, but Brian also, we'll get to him later. Right, Horang. I'm putting him in anti-fun because it feels like he's mashing on you a lot of times, and yeah, fuck Horang. He even has that move where he kind of spins into the background and punches forward, and that move is super quick and evasive. So when he's minus on you after spamming a bunch of stuff that's only like slightly minus, you can't take back your turn too easily because he might do that spin into the background punch on you, and if he does that, you're getting hit again. It's still his turn, so it feels annoying, and also he can pull it out at any point. He can save it until like it's last one hit left, and the next hit wins. He can pull it out for a situation like that, and that actually happened to me recently, and that's kind of why I'm still salty about it, because he's relentlessly mashing on me, and then I finally get a chance to open him up, and he goes into the background and does this punch and evades what I was doing. I was like, okay, well, that is the part of Tekken 8 that people hate, and Horang has a lot of that kind of crap, so he's going in anti-fun. Claudio, he also has a lot of stuff that people who talk shit about Tekken 8 say is bullshit. So yeah, still going there. Just the plus frame forward punch thing is just annoying as hell. I don't like fighting against Claudio. He just seems like a character that is slept on, and a character that is. I can't think of a weakness he has. I don't know what his weakness is. It just feels like it's all positives, and if you're really good, you can beat anybody with Claudio. I don't know where Claudio struggles, so yeah, jack of all trades and above average, so annoying as fuck, and also underestimated. With Jin, at least people know that he's really good at everything. With Claudio, it's like, well, I can't even clip farm him, and he's oppressive, and he has plus frames, and he just has a bunch of shit where it's too annoying to put him anywhere else except anti-fun. Azucena, also going in anti-fun. She going in overall on fun. God damn, these recent characters have just been so negative. But why am I putting in our own fun? Why am I doing it? Just the character is so difficult to beat, and it feels like all her stuff is too fast to react to, and super rare as well. So by the time you're ready to react, she's already won. And I'm kind of sick of characters like that, where by the time you're ready to adjust, they're fucking out of your game. And yeah, I hate that so much. And Azucena kind of embodies that. By the time you're ready, I'm out. So yeah, that's annoying, and I'm fed up with character. It's not even specifically the character. It's Tekken 8 ranked, where you can't just replay the same opponent over and over until you figure them out. That's kind of why Azucena is unfun, in my opinion. But that's not really the character's fault. So, okay, since I put other characters in unfun for that reason, I'm going to I kind of used a similar argument for King, so I might. With Azucena, she just seems a bit faster with most of her stuff, but it's less damage as well. So, right, for the sake of fairness, she might go in neutral. Yeah, actually perfect placement, because John is also less damaged than someone like King. John also has that kind of gimmick. Actually, because now that I'm thinking about it, you can try and beat John before she charges up that meter. So there is ways to try and make sure that she doesn't use her metered moves on you. So there is a bit of depth to her in that sense. Whereas Azucena kind of fits the bill of how I painted John originally. When I wasn't taking into consideration her meter. So yeah, Tadashi. So far, this list kind of looks good. I don't know how other Tekken players are gonna see this, but this kind of seems like a great list. And it's my list, so obviously I'm gonna be biased, but everything kind of makes sense. Right. So Raven, very rare. Oh shit. Very rare character. I think he might. You see, he kind of has a lot of acrobatic stuff where he jumps around and things like Yoshimitsu. Where I'll get to Yoshimitsu when I get to him, but characters who go high up in the air with their moves, um, if you hit them out of the air, you're able to make combos that you can't make on any other characters. So that aspect of him is fun. He's also really quick though. I'll do overall fun to play against. And what I was considering was not putting him in neutral. I was considering putting him in most fun. We'll put him about here. Okay, so Dragunov. This character was so good in season 1, but we're out of season 1 now. Dragunov is such... He's the worst part of the Tekken player base, really. Because what I mean by that is people who played Dragunov in season 1, most of them abandoned him for season 2 because he's not as good. So whereas I used to see him all the time, now I never see him. And that kind of zero loyalty, zero playing for fun mentality, where you just want to use the cheapest shit to win, and when it's no longer good, you abandon it. That's kind of what Dragunov represents a bit, but we're going to judge him for what he is in season 2 and not for the players who play him. Dragunov season 2 is gonna go in... I'm gonna put him in overall fun because I'm used to fighting against Dragunov who was better, and now that he's not as good as he was, he is fun. Jack actually is a similar situation where when season 2 first started, Jack had a move where he like jumped on you and did an energy blast thing with his fists, and it was plus and he could spam it. That was not fun at all. I'm not sure if it was plus or if it was neutral, but it was just an extremely unfun move where actually I am pretty sure it was plus, but it was a really unfun move. After they nerfed it, Jack became infinitely more fun to play against. Hopefully they nerf Paul's hammer fist thing that guard breaks. Then he would be maybe in neutral. But that hammer thing with Paul is why he needs to go on top of anti-fun. They need to nerf that. It's too stupid. You get put on the ground and you can't block the attack that's coming at you. It feels stupid. Now, it's more rare for him to be able to set it up than it used to be, but it's just the principle that you're on the ground in disadvantage and he's coming at you with something you can't block, you can't sidestep, you can't do anything, and all you can do is get hit. That's not fun. Kuma, by the way, with Paul, it is a very specific scenario for him to be able to make sure you can't do any of that stuff, but that still doesn't make it any less fun. So just because it's more rare doesn't mean that that's not a problem. I still think that's bullshit. Alright, we have Kuma. Okay, I have to address this. Asuka has a move where she spins a few times and eventually the kick is unblockable, but you can sidestep that. That is slow enough that no matter what Okesami Asuka has, you're going to be able to block that. Because if you're... The only way the Okesami could be so bad that you couldn't sidestep that, you could just easily stay on the ground if you really think that that's coming. Or you could just hit her out of it because she's spinning so many times and coming towards you that you could do the get up kick and maybe it's a skill issue. I don't know. With Paul, can you kick him out of it? It feels like because his elbow has more range. Like he lunges at you, so you can't really kick. Like he doesn't gradually come towards you. He stands still and does an elbow charge, and then suddenly, whoo, and it's just crazy. Yeah, fuck that. It needs another nerf before I'm happy about that. Okay, Kuma, and I'm not talking damage or any of that. I'm talking counterplay nerf. Like make him come towards you a little bit so that you can kick him, or do something so that when you're on the ground, you're not just a sitting duck. Okay, Kuma. Okay, if that elbow charge thing tracks, then I'm right that it needs another nerf. If it doesn't track and you can roll while you're on the ground, then it's a skill issue and I'm wrong. Because now that I'm thinking of all the options you have on the ground, you could just roll to the side to get around it and then punish it. I have a feeling you can do that. I have a feeling there is counterplay and I've only figured it out right now, so I'm gonna put him with King with the more to learn category. Don't know why Dragunov is that low there. Let's move Dragunov up to above Xiaoyu. Okay, now the list probably makes way more sense. Right, cool. Now, if I'm wrong about what I'm thinking where you can roll, if he still tracks and he can still hit you, Anti-Fun is where he belongs. But if he can't, then he deserves to go up here. I have a strong feeling that you can just roll. Alright, so Kuma. He has the weird hitbox that Panda has. I'm actually going to move Panda up here because I said in one of my previous videos that it was these two characters that I didn't want to make a tier list about because I didn't know how good they were. Now, I was talking about a proper how good each character is tier list rather than a fun tier list. With Kuma and Panda, they might go in overall fun. They're very unique. I like the animal characters. Yeah, I kind of like Kuma and Panda. I'm gonna put Kuma. They're also really rare, so the annoying parts about them you don't have to play too often. But like this list, that mute that point. That point doesn't make sense. This is about when you are playing against them. Kuma and Panda. They do have some annoying aspects, but this is my opinion. And in my opinion, I like Kuma and I like Panda. I'm gonna put them there. Well, actually, I'm gonna put them here. There we go. Okay. The reason that Panda is slightly above Kuma is because I don't like Kuma's heat smash. But do I really like Panda's heat smash? Panda's is the lesser of two evils, so Panda's gonna go there. Did I mess up my camera? I think I might have. No, I didn't. Okay. I moved myself a bit too much though. There we go. Okay. I'm back to the list. Leo. Leo is gonna go in neutral. I do not have much to say on Leo because I do not see that character that much. In fact, I'm actually going to put in unfun because it seems like the character is slept on. Whenever I do run into Leo, it just seems a bit annoying. So yeah, Leo's going there. Right, Shaheen is kind of very similar to Leo, where I think the character is really good, but also nobody plays him because not interesting. So yep, both those characters are just not interesting. Steve, I'm actually gonna put Shaheen there. Fuck Shaheen, I don't like him. Do I dislike him that much though? We'll put him there. It's just the fact that his I think it's his 12 frame is really strong. Kind of similar to Law. Yeah, Law is more anti-fun than these. I'm gonna put Shaheen above Leo though. It's just as an Asuka main who doesn't really have good fast punishes, I am a bit jealous of characters that do have good fast punishes like Law and Shaheen. So yeah, that's kind of why, to be honest, I have a little bit of a resentment for that, because the reason I played Asuka in the first place is because she is a bit of a beginner character, and I'm like, well, this game is really complicated. I don't need added complexity by having a really complicated character to play. I'm gonna work on figuring out how to beat all the other complicated characters. So I gave myself a character who had counters and ease of use and ways to get around a lot of the BS that would be coming my way. But a big problem that Asuka has that I didn't realize until it was too late and I invested too much time into the character was her 10 frame sucks badly, and her other quick options aren't much better. Whereas these characters, they actually have super fast punish options, and that almost makes them more beginner friendly than Asuka, because if you're a beginner, it's easy to just throw out your quickest move on when you're blocking something, especially if that quick move is safe, like a jab. So yeah, to be safe and also to get a huge punish is pretty broken, and that's something I don't have with Asuka. So yeah, well, sucks to sucks. I'm gonna remain jealous though. Right, Steve, he might go in most fun. Yeah, he's gonna go in most fun. Even though he's really fast with his punches, obviously, there's still unique ways to. This is from my perspective as an Asuka player, and Jun would have a similar experience, where when he does outfox, where he goes all the way back here, and most characters can't really catch him. I love it when he thinks I can't get him. I step forward slightly and then I use forward 2, and he goes all the way up into the air and I start my combo. That is such a great feeling, and I can only get that feeling against Steve. So that is kind of the main reason he's here. And also because he does so many punches, I can just do a punch parry and shut half his moves down. So yeah, pretty awesome, pretty fun. And now we go into the king of fun, Yoshimitsu, the gimmick character himself. He has so many gimmicks and so many things that are counterable and fun. He's something that makes the parts of Tekken that make Tekken great, where you can use sidestepping or you can use just different verticality and stuff like that in order to counter someone. Yoshimitsu has all of it. There's so many ways to counter him because he has so many ways to attack, but they're not all fast. Because they're not all fast and because they're reactable, you're able to realize that after the first time he does it and you get hit by it, or maybe after like a couple times, especially with some of the slightly faster moves than the jumping into the air type of stuff. Where was I going with that? I was trying to say that it may take a few times to figure out how to counter him, but when you realize how to counter him and you figure out like unique ways to counter his unique options, it feels really fun, and it feels like that's what fighting games are about. Having like characters with really unique things they can do, and because what they can do is really unique, the way you can counter them is also really unique, and that's extremely fun. It feels fun to use a move that usually has one or two purposes in a completely unique way, because you're fighting an opponent who does something that nobody else does. And I think that's great, and I think that's what Yoshimitsu embodies to me. So Yoshimitsu is going at top. King of Fun. There may be one other character who's close to Yoshi, but spoiler alert, he is going to be my number one. Probably. I might change my mind. Like, Jack has been fucking on safari during this tier list, so don't hold me to anything, okay? Okay, Feng Wei. This is pretty funny because I have a friend who says that he's not fast, but he hits really hard to make up for it. Actually, in this game, he is extremely fast, and he's also pretty strong. So that's a combination to be not fun at all. But he's not super duper strong like Kazuya or Jack. He might have to go in neutral. He's a bit similar to Azucena in a bit ways, maybe a little bit better though. Oh my god, I have him at top of neutral. It's like he's more zero than the other zero. um, do I put him in neutral? I think with time I would realize how to fight him and he'd become more fun. Actually, I'm starting to learn his stuff. Azucena almost should go here as well. Oh, Feng Wei. It's just a lot of his moves are so quick that you can't react. Yeah, too quick. For now, he's gonna go in neutral. But like, even though I'm saying that, I don't usually lose to Feng Wei, so it's a bit of a paradox where, what I remember of him, I shouldn't be able to beat him. But I also remember that I was beating him, so what the fuck? I think it's because the players playing him weren't as good as they need to be, rather than it having anything to do with the character. And when I say that, I kind of look at Nina, because for Nina, the players I play against aren't as good as with their character as they need to be. Okay. This is kind of the trio of the players at my ranks aren't really pushing the character to their potential, and that's why I find them more fun to play than someone like Asuka. I mean, not Asuka, Azucena, who is being pushed pretty hard because it doesn't take a lot of effort to push them hard. With that logic, Paul should be here. I'm at a conundrum where I either put Paul down, or I bring Azucena up. I'm gonna do this because with Paul, he does do so much damage that you can't figure out in time how to beat him. Whereas with Azucena, you get a little bit more time because she's doing less damage. But then again, Azucena's frame data is pretty quick. But Paul has, you see, the move list in the game for both these characters is long. So Paul probably has, he does have quick moves as well. Yeah, Paul is staying in neutral. because the move list of all these characters is pretty long. So even though he may have some slow moves, he also has strong moves that are quick as well. So he's going to go there. And I've experienced it. He does have fast but quick moves. Fast but strong moves. This character is pretty tough because a lot of the things people hate about Tekken 8, this character resembles or embodies. And but she also has a lot of gimmicks similar to Yoshimitsu and going up into the air and stuff like that, where the counterplay to her can be interesting. So we kind of have a bit of an extreme positive and an extreme negative. Guys, we found our chaotic neutral. She's going in chaotic neutral, extremes in both directions to the point it comes to zero. So there we go. And then Devil Jin, he actually has... Devil Jin was the character I was talking about when I was talking about who may rival Yoshimitsu. He has a lot of that going into the air stuff. He also... I really like Devil Jin's sound effects. I know some people find it annoying, but I think they're so kind of good. The voice actor for Devil Jin, I think, did an amazing job. I love the voice lines for Devil Jin. It makes him fun to fight just audibly. Like, his voice lines are so good to me that if I just wanted to play a character based on kind of style, I'd probably go for Devil Jin just off the voice lines alone. It makes him seem like, menacing and evil and kind of cool in that way. Like, I think they hit the nail on the head with Devil Jin in this game. Aesthetically, I really like him. And in prior Tekken games, I saw him as like, oh wow, so edgy. He's trying so hard to be an edgelord, and it's just so try hard and so kind of fucking lame. But now it's kind of less try hard, more kind of menacing, but also he still has that passion in how he does his moves. So I like him now. He's not an edgelord to me anymore. He's more like, he's edgelord enough that it's not overbearing, but he's also kind of menacing too, and that's what I like. So yeah, I'm repeating myself a bit too much. I just want to emphasize that it's kind of the style rather than the gameplay. But parts of his gameplay, like when he flies at you and stuff like that, there's unique counters to that, of course. So he's quite carried by his voice lines, to be honest. That's why, even though Yoshimitsu isn't... I don't like his voice lines as much as Devil Jin, Yoshimitsu's gameplay is more fun, whereas Devil Jin's gameplay is pretty fun, but also his style is pretty good too. So he's almost at Yoshimitsu level, but not quite there. Now Li Chaolan is interesting because I kind of like some of the voice lines too, especially in Tekken and like Tekken 1 and Tekken 2. I remember seeing people play that game because obviously that game is before my time, so I would only get to see other people play it. But I do remember seeing him going, "Chow!" with the kick. I can't do the high pitched scream, but you would think a high pitched scream would not sound nice, but for some reason I like the sound. Some of the voice actors in Tekken just do such a good job that it would they carry an otherwise not so interesting character. But I like the fact that he kept that keep out kick and scream thing. That kind of it's an old identity that has been preserved all the way up until Tekken 8, and it's something I like. Probably a very strange thing to like, but it gives me nostalgia for a game I didn't even play. Which, like, what if that happens? You know it's good. So we're going for. I know I've gone a bit. Actually, here's how important gameplay is to me, though. Despite the glazing of his aesthetics, I think he actually has some pretty anti-fun gameplay. Even though he's not the best character, his gameplay is pretty annoying. We're gonna go above Lars because he's going above Lars because of his aesthetic. But you see, some parts of his aesthetic I don't even like anyway. So he's not as carried the way as Devil Jin is. Yeah, and in the story mode, he's not the main story, but his own character story, where he tricks Nina into going on a date with him. That's kind of loser behavior. So we're gonna put him. We're gonna put him maybe there. It doesn't feel right putting him there though. I think he's closer to neutral than he is closer to the very end of overall unfun. Yeah, and I don't really care at all for Lars's aesthetic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Shaheen kind of has that super quick punish as well, but okay. Okay. All right. Let's move on because I don't even see Lee that regularly. My tongue is getting a bit twisted because I've been talking for so long. Right now, Safina. Never see this character, but from what I see, she's super plus on block all the time and really tricky. Kind of worst aspects of Tekken. She's somewhere down here. Is she the most anti-fun? Here's the thing about Safina. Her moveset is unique, but it's not unique in the way that Yoshimitsu's moveset is unique. Where with Yoshimitsu, his moveset is so unique and he's so acrobatic and all over the place that there's ways to counter him that are unique to him. Whereas with Safina, she's kind of just unique in a way that throws you off and makes it so you can't counter her in a unique way. But she's unique in the sense that she has all the confusing and none of the confusing but counterable. She's kind of just confusing and you counter it in conventional ways, but it looks weird. So yeah, and being plus on block so often as well is not great. You see, she has some stances where when she's in that stance, she can't block. So for that, that's a little bit fun to play against. Lars also has that kind of confusing aspect to him as well, but not as crazy. You see, Safina is just better than Lars, it feels. But you see, better at a higher level, I think. So I'm gonna keep it to my experience. From my experience, Lars players are actually a bit better than Safina. And I see Safina so rarely as well. I see Lars more often than Safina, so it gives me more of a chance to adapt. Okay, that's the justification for putting Lars above. Oh wait. Yeah. Because the higher they are, the closer they are to fun. Okay, so Victor. Do you know, weirdly, even though he does go into the air and does the extra Sean thing, it doesn't feel like you can hit him out of it. Like, I always try, but I never do it. I'm gonna put him in neutral because I don't know. I honestly don't know if you can counter him in any ways that are unique. It feels like you can't. It feels like he kind of just goes over some of your move and then comes down with a sword swing, and it's too fast for how good it is, and too like evasive. Yeah. Not as fun as Yoshimitsu, not even close. Is he unfun though? Like the gun, the reason I'm not even mentioning the gun is because that is a skill issue. For the gun, you should be aware of where he can shoot and make sure that if it's optimal for him to shoot, duck so that you don't get shot. because he's not going to shoot you up close, because obviously he's going to do something quicker. But if you're ducking and he's far away from you, he can't come at you with something like a mid that's unreactable. All he could do is shoot and hope that he hits you, but if you're good, he's not going to hit you because you are ducking, because you're aware of, you have positional awareness and knowing what the character can do depending on your position. That doesn't make him fun though. It just means you have to duck at certain distances, and if they're dumb enough to shoot at a distance where he can get punished for shooting, that can be fun, and sometimes they do that. So maybe he's gonna go there. He's really on the edge though. He's actually gonna go here because Azucena, it feels a bit better. Yeah. Azucena is a bit more difficult than Victor. Okay, let's go to Brian. Brian, I'm actually gonna put in anti-fun. Yes, you can counter his snake edge, and yes, you can clip farm him the way you can clip farm Jin, but Brian is just too good. Even at my level, he is just too good, because maybe I'm just getting unlucky with the players I'm playing against, but it seems like a lot of Brian players, they're playing him because they see Knee playing him, and they're doing stuff similar to Knee. And when they're doing stuff similar to Knee, it feels like complete bullshit and not fun. And like the character is better than you, rather than the character diff between Brian and Asuka is just too massive, to the point it feels anti-fun fighting against him. It feels like I'm losing to the character rather than the player when I fight against Brian. The only saving grace is that his sweep is reactable, but like good players don't do that sweep. So, and people, they play like they're trying to be Knee. That just makes it fucking unbearable. Yeah, Brian is just too good, and everyone who plays him is super try hard. Asuka just can't keep up with Brian. That's why he's going in anti-fun. He's just too many tiers above Asuka, and I struggle against the character, not the fucking players. Well, I guess the players in a sense, because the players are playing as if it's Evo. But yeah, Brian is gonna stay in anti-fun. Actually, he's gonna go. I'm kind of basing this off this hatred towards Brian is kind of coming from not the general Brian players I fight, because generally I'm actually pretty decent against those players. It's the ones that are super good where it's like, why are you in my rank? it feels like they're smurfing. It's those players that they kind of just ruined the game for me. Yeah, fuck those players. A lot of Brian, not a lot, but enough Brian players feel like they're smurfing. Like Loki. Okay, Reina. I think you're actually gonna go King territory, King Fengwei-ish territory. I like the aesthetic and the sound effects, so I'll carry Reina up to maybe. Mm. Mm. She's such a good character, but she doesn't feel unfair. When she gets into certain stances, you should it's kind of similar to where is he, Victor, where not the whole stance thing, but at certain when she's in certain stances, you should kind of know what is coming next, just based on what they're doing, and because of that, you see she's better than Victor as well. Ah, I'm not gonna be that salty. She's actually a good challenge, so yeah, I'll put her fun. She's one of those rare characters where even though she's tricky to beat, she doesn't feel unfair or like bullshit. Reina's usually do outplay you to win. Yeah, Reina's gonna go there. Eddie. Eddie, you are actually gonna go anti-fun. Just very strange moves. You're gonna go. Yeah, I've actually already been here, done that with Safina. The stances that he goes into where he can't block, that's your chance to counterplay him. And there's also when he's mashing tree on you. There's ways around that, because obviously on a Twitch there used to be a bot where it would just use the tree over and over. So that particular string I'm familiar with. So having familiarity with that, just based on watching the bot play, has kind of taught me something that I wouldn't have. Eddie is kind of carried a bit by that bot because I know how to fight Eddies who do that, but like not most Eddies don't do that. So you're only carried a little bit. Jesus, because he's still good and still really tricky. But you're not as plus as Safina. Yeah. We're gonna. No. Wait. We hold him higher in higher regard than Safina because he's not as plus as Safina. Okay. Lydia. So, worst parts about Tekken is exemplified with Lydia. It just seems like a bunch of stuff is unreactable and also lacks counterplay, and also she does too much damage, and also she's plus. She's she's actually similar to Brian, just not as good as Brian. She's bullshit in the way that Brian is bullshit. But yeah. Just people who play Lydia are so carried. Right, Heihachi. By the way, I do like the aesthetic of Lydia. It's just the aesthetic is not going to carry her into. It's not going to make me be dishonest about how toxic her gameplay is. Her gameplay is cancer. Okay, Heihachi. It feels pretty awesome to fight against Ultimate Heihachi and win. Yeah. Heihachi has unique stuff about him. I'm really only talking about the Ultimate Heihachi thing, where if, let's imagine this, it's 2-2, next game wins, he pops Master or Ultimate Heihachi at the start of the round, and you win anyway. Oh boy, am I clip farming that. And it's happened, and I still have to go and farm those clips from my streams. But yeah, that's a job for another day. He's kind of similar to Jim with the clip farming, but it's on a whole nother level with Heihachi, where it's really cool and it feels really good to be a god mode character. So yeah. The reason these guys don't fall into that category is because these guys are god mode during the whole set, and also people will say it's a skill issue when you lose to Brian or Lydia, and it's like, guys, are you even playing Tekken at any level where people are competent? Because Brian and Lydia don't really have a lot of gimmicks that you can work around. They kind of just have a move set full of great moves. Clive. Clive. He is deserving of being put in anti-fun. But he's a bit more one-dimensional than Brian and Lydia. And he also doesn't have as much plus frames as Brian or Lydia. So even though he does deserve anti-fun, he's gonna get what he deserves. You'll get what you fucking deserve. He's going in that's a Joker reference. Yeah, he's gonna stay in anti-fun, but he is pretty one-dimensional, and there is some counterplay. But like the Clive player can just kind of use other moves. He's one-dimensional in a bad way, where his moves are so good that he can afford to be one-dimensional. And you kind of almost have to guess what he's gonna do next. Well, actually, you do need to guess to some extent. He's part of this kind of why Tekken 8 has problems. These characters, they all have the Tekken 8 problem where they're 2+, there's too many quick moves where you're always guessing against them. Yeah. And then we have Anna, who also falls into this territory of embodiment of what's wrong with Tekken 8 right now, where you feel like you're playing a guessing game. Jesus, though, Nina belongs down here. It's just the players I play against who use Nina are scrubs. And the people who use Anna are good, for the most part. Kinda. The fucking player base of Anna are so trash at times. No. Oh my god. Alright, here's the changes I'm gonna make to this list. I'm now no longer going to take into account how bad the players I run into generally are. I'm gonna judge these characters as if they're... fuck that. No, I can't do that either. Because it's my list, I need to base it on my experience. Oh my fucking god, it pains me to do this because I know she's better than this, but... Anna players generally are also scrubs. But some aren't. Okay. We have chaotic evil. We have... chaotic neutral. We have lawful neutral. And we have neutral. So yeah, Anna is the queen of neutral. Okay. And then obviously, since lawful sounds more neutral than chaotic, we're gonna keep Alyssa at the end of 0, so her 0 is less valuable than these zeros. Alright, well that makes no sense. But yeah, there we go. This list is... I was trying to... Asuka has less kind of super good moves in comparison to Steve. So if I'm gonna be like harsh against my character to make sure that she's in this tier, then I'm being too harsh, because it doesn't make sense to say that Well, she belongs here since she has good stuff that is unreactable, when Steve clearly also has good stuff that's unreactable. So Asuka, she has more gimmicks, and she has more things that are fun to do, fight against as well. So yeah, we're gonna put Asuka there. We might put Asuka above Lily. It's a close call. They're almost same level. Yeah. So more kind of fun gimmick stuff, more fair, and then less fair, but the counterplay to his gimmicky stuff is fun. It's just that Asuka has more. The only thing I can think of with Steve is Outfox, where he's dashing backwards. And then with Asuka specifically, or John, you can go forward and do a uppercut, which is fun to do. Clive can probably counterplay that move as well because he has so much range. Anna probably can too with the bazooka. Even Victor with the gun, or Kazuya with the laser. There's actually a good few characters who can counter that in unique ways. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this video. I've been yapping for, let's see how long. I'm gonna guess 2 hours. Oh, okay. I was pretty close. An hour and 36 minutes. By the time I stop the video, it's gonna be an hour 37. Unless I stop it right now. Bye guys, have a great day, and peace.